Innovation, the education system is designed to foster holistic development, incorporating both academic and moral values. Central to this objective are moral education and Islamic education, which are integral components of the national curriculum. Both subjects are guided by the Standard Curriculum and Assessment Document (SKP) to ensure consistency and quality in teaching and learning. Moral education is compulsory for non-Muslim students, focusing on instilling universal values and ethical principles. It aims to cultivate individuals who are morally upright and capable of contributing positively to the society, and this subject covers a broad spectrum of moral values, including respect, responsibility, integrity, and empathy. Islamic education, on the other hand, is compulsory for Muslim students. This subject emphasizes the teachings of Islamic, including the Quran and Hadith, to guide students in their spiritual, moral, and social life. It seeks to develop students' understanding of Islamic principles, rituals, and practices, fostering a strong sense of faith and identity. Next, we go to similarities and differences of content between moral education and Islamic education. Moral education and Islamic education have shared the same objective, which is to promote goodness and foster a noble character in all students. Due to that, moral education and Islamic education share the same characteristic in content. Firstly, we can see that in the term of ethical values, both moral education and Islamic education emphasize the value of honesty, respect for each other, responsibility, and being kind and compassionate. Other than that, moral education and Islamic education promote character development through a stance of integrity and fairness. Furthermore, moral education and Islamic education also include behavioral guidance, an aspect of good conduct. Both provide guidelines on how to behave ethically and morally in various situations, while in the aspect of self-discipline, both emphasize the need for self-control and discipline in personal conduct. Then, we continue to discuss differences in content between moral education and Islamic education. Moral education, or called as ethical education, contents are more general and they focus specifically on values, ethics, and virtues to teach students to make rational choices. Then, moral education stands as secular foundation because it contains made draw from various philosophical, cultural, and not tied to any specific religion to teach students about ethical values. Meanwhile, Islamic education contents a manifestation of Islamization philosophy. They are specifically focused on teaching children the principle, belief, virtues, and practices of Islam. Then, Islamic education stands as religious foundation because it is based on Islamic teaching from the Quran, Hadith, and the Sunnah. It also includes specific doctrines of fiqh, aqidah, and sirah. Next, we go to specific content in moral education and Islamic education. Moral education discusses ethical dilemma to include discussion of contemporary moral issues such as human rights and social justice. Then, moral education emphasizes civic responsibilities such as voting, community services, and respecting laws. Moreover, moral education teaches interpersonal skills such as effective communication, conflict resolution, and empathy. Moral education also included moral theories such as Falsburg theory of moral development. In contrast, Islamic education specific content includes religious practices by providing instruction on how to perform prayer, fasting, zakat, and hajj. Then, emphasize Quran studies by memorizing and interpreting the Quranic verses. Moreover, Islamic education includes hadith study in learning the science and the action of Prophet Muhammad SAW. Additionally, it stresses Sharia on law by understanding Islamic law and its application in daily life. In the source of authority between moral education and Islamic education, moral education uses various philosophical and ethical frameworks like utilitarianism, deontology, virtues ethics, and cultural norms to determine what is morally right or wrong. While Islamic education primarily source of authority in the Quran and Hadith, which they consider divine revelation in Islam. These steps provide a foundation of Islamic belief and practices and serve as the ultimate guide for Muslims in matter of faith and morality. Lastly, content of moral education can be taught in diverse cultural settings and educational systems, accommodating various beliefs and practices while focusing on universal values. As simple said, it is inclusive for all. Meanwhile, Islamic education is rooted in the teaching of Islam that is primarily practiced within Muslim communities and Islamic educational institutions. As simple said, it is exclusive to Islam. Similarities in method of moral education and Islamic education. First is academic assessment. Both moral and Islamic education use exam-oriented. However, this testing hinders student performance and internalization due to its focus on memorization. Also, both are student-centered, where teachers directing students toward what they should accomplish. Therefore, it will emphasize moral, practical, and community-based tasks. This is both help of pedagogy. They emphasize role model and life skill, focus more on practical application, not ritualistic, so anything could serve as a valuable teaching lesson. Also, both use scenario, case study, and drama. Case study for each developmental stage are provided for students to understand. Teachers use scenario to challenge student answer and foster critical thinking, and drama are created to enhance comprehension of the stages. Also, students use short video or stories to conceptualize their use. It's like teachers create a safe environment to students to express opinion. Then teacher will clarify values and promote understanding in moral education. Differences in method objective. Islamic education focuses on developing students' moral and values. It also emphasizes purifying intention and knowing the action before taking any action. Also, it concerns with moral feeling, emphasizing sincerity of doing good. While moral education only integrates information and theory calculation. For curriculum-based, Islamic education reflects Islamization philosophy. It divides into three parts are that teaching and learning of belief, religious ritual, and virtue or adab. Moreover, Muslims view moral education as part of their religious belief, while moral education are more generalized, focused on values and ethics. However, moral education lacks connection with TSD element, making moral education are secluded. Next, Islamic education encourages students to consult Quran and Hadith recommendation before making decisions. However, research shows no moral theories from the Quran and Hadith in Islamic education instruction in Malaysia. Therefore, they should benefit from al-Qadhi developmental stage. While moral education needs any theory that related to situation in making decisions, for example, Outward Moral Development Theory and GPH observation on human socialization. Less different is the new clarification. Islamic education values are clarified based on the Quran and Sunnah. They will discuss for values that not align with the Quran and Sunnah. If values are rejected, reason and rationalization are sought. However, acceptance of value begins with understanding the issue or the problem. While moral education are more generalized, focus on value and ethics. There are also a few issues and challenges in implementing moral education and Islamic education in Malaysia. Number one is the issue about the shortage number of teachers. Sarawak Teachers Union (STU), President Kulin Dijaya said that among the subjects that are experiencing a critical shortage of teachers are moral education, Islamic education, visual arts education, physical education, design and life skill, as well as preschool teachers. The lack of teachers also creates the problem of teacher workload. This is because there are teachers, especially in large school, who teach various subjects and spend more time than they should to cover the problem of lack of teachers. The second issue is conflict of the polemic to destroy Islamic education. The Association of Malaysian Muslim Teachers, which is IGURU, described the issue of teaching Islamic education in primary schools as having been given a view that give rise to polemics and negative reactions to the subject. The president of IGURU, Muhammad Aziz Hassan, said that emphasis on the subject of Islamic education should be given priority because today's generation is exposed to various risks of the disciplinary problems and moral decay. This is among the treatment made by a person in Twitter that critiqued the Islamic education in Malaysia. Thirdly, is syllabus burdens the students. Aziza suggested that the Malaysian Ministry of Education, which is KPM, review the syllabus for each subject to ensure that it is appropriate for the age level of the students. She said, the education system should stimulate students' thinking skills through fun activities instead of exam questions that are difficult to answer. Meanwhile, the lecturer of the Department of Education and Humanities Principles, Faculty of Education, University Malaya, Dr. Abdul Razak Zakaria said that increasingly heavily load of the syllabus seems to be able to put pressure on students at a young age. Lastly, the idea of MEC is to build the character of discipline and manners of school students. Through the report, some experts and parents asked the MOE to take immediate action regarding sex, sanity, and moral education in schools, in an effort to educate students on the matters. Wadina said, character formation among students also requires support from the entire community ecosystem, including parents and the community, as well as not punishing children because they are still young and need encouragement to become better people.
For the conclusion, moral education aims to develop a sense of morality that transcends particular theological framework by emphasizing universal ethical concepts like fairness, honesty, and respect. It does this by encouraging ethical reasoning, empathy, and critical thinking in order to better equip people to negotiate the complicated moral terrain seen in variant and heterogeneous culture. On the other hand, Islamic education is based on Islamic teaching and include moral precepts and religious obligations that are drawn from the Quran and Hadith. It seeks to impart a true knowledge of Islamic principles, customs, and beliefs, enabling people to live their life in compliance with them. This type of education emphasizes the importance of faith in forming ethical behavior by integrating moral instruction with spiritual development. If we say about content moral and Islamic education, both aim to promote goodness, but moral education teaches universally beneficial ethical values, while Islamic education focuses on nurturing Islamic faith and identity in Muslim children.
In summary, Islamic and moral education are both essential for forming people and civilization. While Islamic education offers a profound, faith-based approach to morality and human conduct, moral education gives a broad ethical basis that can promote harmonious coexistence in various situations. To assist people with a well-rounded moral compass and enable them to positively contribute to their communities while staying true to their unique belief and cultural identity, a balanced approach that respects and embraces both point of view is needed.